Welcome back to another episode of...
All right, yeah.
How are you getting on?
How's it going?
So my pain is subsiding somewhat.
Oh, great.
So I might have more energy.
We're another week on. You still look shit.
It's
No,
gone
joking. You still look like you have gallstones.
You've ruffled it now.
Stop.
I'm just fixing
Touching
hair and
it.
makeup. Hair and makeup. We did do your makeup the other week, actually.
Yeah.
Full face, yeah.
And a
Audrey
beauty
got a fright.
spot and a very weird coloured lipstick.
Yeah, and nude. Yeah, you're so freaked out by the nude colour.
What nude? For lips?
Nude lip colour, yeah.
It's awful. I would have liked cerise pink any day of the week. That was just strange.
Hot pink. Yeah, Audrey
And
jumped.
it had those little lines here when it got too crispy at the end of the day.
That's how you have to keep going.
I think I got recognised in the car on the way back from your gaff, actually.
Yeah, that's so funny. I wouldn't say you did because you look very different. We need to get a wig on you next time.
Oh yeah, and a dress. It's kitten heels.
She's obsessed with kitten heels. Oh yeah, get that.
How many do you need on one piece of clothing?
You definitely don't need them on a cardigan. Like
who
she's
hangs that
talking
shit
about
up?
the little ribbony things that you put. I always pull them off and then make holes. And like we were talking
you
about.
never bother to go get a scissors.
No,
just rip it off.
No, we
and
were
make a
talking
hole.
about like kind of lazy fashion that we gonna do. So like this t-shirt I'm wearing now, I did sleep in last night, and sometimes
There's no shame in it, Laura.
No, there's no shame. Sometimes if I wear a pair of socks that I
For
haven't...
half the day?
For half, I've been to the gym halfway through the day and I put a new pair of socks on and I've only worn them like
They're
cooking the
still
dinner.
new.
They're so good. They're
still good.
Yeah.
When does it get a bit iffy?
If
What
the
wouldn't
item,
you do now?
If the item is crisping.
Gross. If it's crisped up in any way.
Yeah.
All right, bang out the topic there, Laura.
We were talking in one of the most recent episodes about the Epstein Float that was on St. Patrick's Day.
In Ballin something. What's the name of the
Bally the Backwards, wherever the hell it was. Katie, get on the Googling now.
Hang on 2 seconds.
We have Katie back again.
Ballintubber? No, hang on.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
It
Ballintubber.
does. It's important. Ballinrobe.
Ballinrobe
in County Mayo.
So what was the whole thing behind it? I mean, I know we're a couple of weeks on now, so it's not as relevant, but we may as well unpack it.
It was a tractor with an Epstein file. Yeah, we're off trend now because it's weeks ago.
Yeah, I know, but
This is
still,
weeks
but it doesn't matter
ago.
because it's something we want to
It was
talk
only
about.
yesterday in
So
real life.
They thought it would be like kind of a funny thing to do.
Oh, a group of lads got together. Oh, this would be great. Apparently in that town, they had always done St. Patrick's Day floats that were kind of a little bit political and controversial, kind of tongue-in-cheek, kind of risque, almost, like on the verge. And they just went too far with this. A group of lads thought it'd be great to take the piss out of RAPE and the Epstein files. And it was a tractor with a sign on the front saying Epstein files and role-playing lads with wigs and stuff on, a mattress on the back of a trailer, a jail, a cage to put the arrested into, but they were actually like mimicking and acting out
Oh my God.
a rape scene.
That is, yeah, because I saw a bit of it and I kind of flicked past it. And I was just like,
But
"Fuck's sake."
there's so much media available now all over social media. It was available. I'm talking in the past.
Yeah.
But like you can hear a woman laughing in the background. That's the bit that triggered me the most. Out of the whole thing, I'm just like, never mind the hundreds and thousands of people that are being re-traumatized, but the fact that you can laugh about this shit so openly and think it's great. And there was people clapping.
Yeah.
There was also people walking away, but like we didn't see videos of that. But like that's just beyond me.
I think so. Myself and Abby have been talking a little bit about the fact that we both have boys as kids, and like we were like, okay, raising men is actually when you initially said raising men as a topic for the podcast, I was like, oh, like my husband or the men in our lives. I was like, oh yeah, actually we both have.
We're playing a role.
Yeah, we're playing a role, and specifically you in a same-sex relationship. I think you've got two women raising one man. You know, well, who want to be a man. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but I mean, there's a lot more feminine.
He can be whatever he wants to be.
He can be whatever he wants to be.
He's
yeah.
male. He's got the parts.
That's fine. And I've got two boys, and actually, one of my boys wouldn't really identify with boy or girl, really. And we're sort of going through that battle at the moment. But I think when I think about what's been going on in the last, let's say, 10 years, because we look at the Me Too movement, we look at the Epstein files, we look at the Manosphere documentary that just came out with Louis Theroux, there is a pendulum swinging so far. We talked about this 2 episodes ago as well, where you were saying there's a far right and a far left, and things are going into the extreme. And then we talked about my midwife stuff, that this idea of us still being in a patriarchal society, specifically in the medical world, specifically at perinatal and prenatal wards, where yes, there are women, they are women dominated, but there is a lot of the men patriarchal society the system is still. Yeah. And actually one woman said to me recently, I thought it was quite pertinent. She said, there was a real bang of the...
What does pertinent mean?
Apt, like appropriate for the topic we're talking about.
Gotcha.
I really hope I got that right. So it was quite appropriate, because she said, there's a real bang of the laundries offer off this some midwife. She was, obviously being quite abrasive about a midwife.
Yeah.
And I was like, the laundries. And actually the laundries, the last laundry, and I'm going to be wrong here somewhere, Katie, get Googling, the last Magdalene laundry closed, I think, in the 80s. I think, I could be wrong, it could have been even sooner. 90s, right. Okay, but she didn't even need Google for that, lads.
Wow, Katie. Knocked it out of the park.
And yes, that was a system that was run by women, but obviously that was a hugely patriarchal system. So when I think about the fact that there was Magdalene laundries up until, when I was alive, like, I'm just like, holy God. And Ireland is so dominated by the church, by men. Of course we're going to see that still in this kind of the matronly kind of attitude in midwifery and in women giving birth and stuff like that. So you and I have roles, and all the mothers out there listening have roles in our kids' lives to... What do we do about this? How do we raise men to be aware of the pitfalls, of dangers of pornography, of consent, of misogyny, of being a man, but also trying to listen and to be there for the opposite sex? Like, what is our role there as women?
I don't think I had this conversation with Audrey this morning, actually. We were revisiting the whole Epstein Float thing and just the horror in both of us. And it came to a point where we can do our best, but we can only hope. We're not in control. Just because, like, in this nature-nurture debate, it's environmental, it's everything like that. We talked through it and kind of thinking about, like, what I needed when I was his age, and all, like, generational divide, and how our parents were brought up versus how they
raised us. When you were
us.
Jude's age.
Yeah, when I was Jude's age and everything like that. Kind of like just to show no shame in being who you are down to its core. But like, that's not really in my control.
No, it's not. I think we need to take the pressure off ourselves a little bit, in that respect,
I can instill it in it, but... like, kids get in with the wrong group when you're at an age where peers are your whole entire world, and your parents get left to the wayside because you're trying so hard and so desperately to form your own identity as an individual. Those are really, really, really important years. Yeah. And I think, we said in a previous episode as well that the bad shit has to happen. Like, you might have to get in with the wrong crew to realise that you're not that. Yeah. You like, like Audrey's most recently lost a group of friends, or like dropped a group of friends because, her mental health is better without them, and she's not the person that she thought she was with them. And like, I think identity is totally fluid and forever evolving, but what we can do is tell them that it's okay to be themselves, and also give them the freedom, because there's this breakaway moment as well that happens. I haven't experienced it yet, but I'm sure you have, of trust. Yeah. And I don't think I had it because I was so disruptive, and I had all this like shit with my family, and I was rebelling hardcore. So, and there was a divide and a disconnect, but there wasn't ever any trust, because the worst was already there and it was expected. What I'm trying to kind of say is the importance of me trusting Jude, but also trusting myself, that I've done a good enough job. Yeah, because so much is out of our control.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that there is a bit of like when I hear the kids fighting, for example, and this is not necessarily anything to do with gender at all, but when I hear the kids fighting, and Lewin's the bigger one, so I can hear it getting out of control, and myself and Fergal are learning slowly. You got to let them resolve it themselves, and it's hard to watch. Or when your child comes in, you're like, they're doing something, they're balancing on something like stupid. Maybe Jude's not old enough yet, but Lewin's balancing on something that he shouldn't be balancing on. Lewin, please don't do that. You're going to hurt yourself. Why? And he'll continue to do it, and then he falls and hurts himself. And my first reaction isn't, oh God, are you okay? It's, I fucking told you not to do that. Why are you doing that? I told you not to do it. That's incredibly frustrating as a mother.
But I think that's a mother trying to live through their child.
It is, but I think
exactly that.
But it's exactly, and it's the letting them be and letting it happen. And I think we just need to be open. I mean, Lewin already knows about sex. He started asking about it, and I just, when we were told about sex, actually, as a child, my mum was still in her like new ages. They were living separately, and she sat us down on poofs, lit some incense, and had some kind of like wind chime music in the background. We were 7.
Panpipes.
Most likely, and a bongo in the background, and she sat us down and said, "Now, have I told you about what sex is?" And I remember hearing about it, and I wasn't horrified. It was perfectly fine for me to hear what sex was. Amazing. It wasn't until I got to like 10 or 11 we watched a video in school, and the video was like, and a man and a woman rub their hips together, and it feels very nice. And I remember going out to my friend after, and being like, I was like, I think sex might be actually kind of nice, because I was never taught about it's a nice feeling, which is weird because it separates. Because then you've got all these ideas like of the child masturbating and stuff coming up as they grow up. That's a weird feeling because it's not associated with this beautiful love thing. The love thing is just a mechanical penis going into a vagina, or for you, it was penis going into a vagina. There was no such thing as scissoring. What was her name? Sandra. Get on.
Scissors or nothing, Sandra. Get on. I'm bringing it up again because it's so good.
Oh, it was brilliant. I was like in stitches doing the edit for that. But that's again strange, is the learning about sex and stuff like that. How did you learn about sex?
I can't remember.
It was just kind of osmosis.
I swear to God, I cannot remember. It was taboo. It was. There's a lot of shame around it. There was a lot of, you definitely should not be doing this.
Okay.
There wasn't the sex before marriage element.
There was for me.
There definitely was. I don't think there was for me. I can't really remember. I don't remember the class in school. Was there even one? There has to have been one.
Oh,
I was born in 86.
I mean, I was in a multi-denominational school, so I don't know what Catholic schools are like, or Protestant in your case, probably.
No, Quaker actually. I went to Quaker school.
I forgot about that.
She did. Quakers don't even have sex.
Yeah.
And the places were just palling around with each other. I don't know. I have no memory.
But for me growing up, obviously I grew up in Christian church, and the whole sex outside marriage made it conflated the topic. It made the whole thing more alluring and more tantalising, like sex outside marriage, and people were questioning me on it, and it was so huge
because you're learning about it at that age as well. But like you're starting to rebel and do things.
Yeah, so all it did was want me to go and
make you want to
desire. Yeah, just put the desire in me to go and see what this whole sex. I remember thinking when I was like 15 and 16.
Ooh, you're not supposed to do it. Like,
and I remember thinking, looking around the room,
an excitement to
totally.
it.
I remember looking around the room, going, "I'd say they've had sex. And just wanting to like know what this thing was, and actually the same was with cursing in my family growing up. My dad hated cursing. My dad did most of the raising of us. Never, like, if anyone said, well, you could kind of say shit, but if anyone said fuck or anything like that, it'd be like, oh, that's charming, you shouldn't be. So I didn't curse until about 10 years ago. I didn't curse in front of my dad.
Yeah, me too.
Until I realised.
I didn't curse in front of my mum.
Isn't it weird? So only recently.
And the natural switch off, because I have a foul mouth.
And how did I manage to switch it off? Like, when we were going on Ireland AM, I was like, don't fucking curse.
Don't say fuck.
And I was just like, murder you cunt.
You big bastard. You tall fucker.
I was like, didn't curse around Dad. So myself and Fergal kind of made a conscientious effort with Lewin and Ray. Like, I'm going to fucking curse in front of them. I don't care.
You said fuck the other day.
And if Lewin and Ray, and if
he's just trying it out.
If Lewin and Ray curse now, we go, no, that's not until you're older. And I go, how come you're allowed to? It's like, well, I've decided.
I've just explained to you.
Yeah, I've decided when I turned 16 that I was okay with being someone who cursed. You might not be, so I don't want to like give you these things.
That's incredible. And that's really nice.
So he knows about sex. Like, to me, right? Like, I've read a lot of books. I wouldn't say I'm like fucking linguistic expert or anything like that, but language is language. Curse words are curse words. We make them taboo, much like sex.
And I think it's actually, you know, sending a kid to, you know, Catholic versus Protestant, non-denominational. Like, there's stuff that they'll do in the school environment that you won't necessarily do at home. Your parents might not believe in God.
Exactly.
And if you say to your kid, I'm saying fuck because I'm an adult.
Yeah.
You're not to say it until you're 16, but also in school you can't use it.
Exactly.
So around certain people...
Yeah.
You can't do it
because different rules.
Because
that's
it'll
what we
upset
say,
them.
Different houses, different rules.
Exactly.
And so like we were with Lewin with his autism, something just flew into my face there. Like we were with Lewin and his autism, and with wearing glasses, or you know, that's cool. Like with sex and with cursing, like that's just the way of the world. Because if we build, in my experience, if stuff is built up to
have you heard him trying it out when he's by himself?
The cursing.
Yeah.
He'll tell a joke. Like he had a joke last week. He was like, hey, what do you say to people who won't get out of the way? Would you ever fucking move? And I just heard it from the kitchen. And and Fergal was like, I don't get the joke. Because you say, would you ever fucking move? No, you're just telling the joke because you can curse. There's nothing funny in that joke. You're just saying it so you can curse. It was this kind of excuse to curse. And him and Fergal regularly give each other the finger. They're like, ugh. And I'm like, just stop. Because they're always going to each other. I'm like, no, you can't do that. But we just want to normalise it. And I am not saying I want them going around cursing and talking about sex. And we do need to be careful with Lewin, like, because he listens to a lot of music. He listens to like Nicki Minaj. We've stopped him listening to Nicki Minaj now because it's like the idea of sex.
And she held hands with Trump. No thanks.
Yeah, exactly. This is actually pre that, but there's Doja Cat, I think, goes into some pretty.
Yeah.
But that is the music he loves. So we need to talk to him about
language.
Yeah, language, sexual respect,
association.
So now I've had to start talking to him about like the image of the women that he looks at on TV. Like that's not what a woman's body looks like. You know what mummy's body looks like, and I don't look like Nicki Minaj. You know, this sort of thing. And we don't want to put sex up on a pedestal. So I don't want to overload him, but I think the approach we're having is like, yeah, that's just the way it is, and it's cool. So don't build an anxiety around it like it was with me around this crazy curiosity. And obviously Lewin they're kind of getting to that age now. He's nearly 9, so he's getting to that age now where girls aren't as icky. Do you know, like, so he wants to hang around with the girls, but he you know, the girls don't want to hang around with him, so he's hanging around with the boys. And you know, girls and boys aren't as icky anymore, so they're starting to hang out together a bit more. They're starting to kind of realise there's crushes, you know, he has a crush on a girl and stuff like that.
And how do you think, maybe you haven't come to it yet and I'm a good few years off, but how do you think, like, as I said, me and Audrey were chatting about the whole, like, how do we raise them, and there's no perfect way, there's no one size fits all, there's like guilt, and in the hope that you do good enough in a group situation, say for example, and a guy spouts something derogatory about a girl's body or something like that, you can't control what other parents do with their kids, and their kids have only really learnt that through social media, watching telly, older siblings, or a misogynistic father, or an Epstein float. Like these kind of, the Epstein float enables that behaviour and that way of thinking, when, like, Lewin, for example, could have been laughing at it because all the people around him were laughing at it and hadn't really solidly thought about what it meant for so many people. Like, how do we represent that in ourselves to them? And I don't even know the answer to that. I'm proposing it as a
myself and Fergal would have open conversations about Trump, for example, you know, and Lewin might weigh in and say, what are you talking about? And we would fill him in, and now some of it goes over his head. So he can be at the table and listen to the conversations we're having around our opinions and views, and he might say, well, I don't agree with that. That's cool, you do you. I think taking on a kind of a very open-minded facilitatory point of view at the dinner table, in the car when you're driving, and allowing your kids to have their opinions, because even if he says, I don't like girls are stupid, rather than go, you can't say that.
Would you question it?
Exactly. So why are you saying that? And what difference does it make if a girl has, you know, if a girl doesn't have a penis, or what difference does it make if a
so
girl's
you wouldn't
slower?
Immediately go defensive, or you can't?
No, I don't think so. I think what I've learned in time, and I'm learning from other parents around me, is question it, because firstly the child needs to have their opinion. Their opinion needs to be valued, even if it is potentially damaging. So, but okay, so how? And so then, how would you feel? How would you feel if people said the boys are stupid? Like, interestingly, Lewin likes to dress in girls' clothes, and he saw a child when we were on holidays I don't know, the child had really long hair, and I don't know if the child was a boy or a girl, but dressed like a girl, but the child had T-shirt off or something, very androgynistic way he was dressed. And Lewin just kept going on and on. It was just weird. It was weird. And now I know that the fixation was, how come that child gets to wear dresses and it's okay, whereas when I don't know. Yeah. So all I could do was kind of field that conversation and just talk
there was
to
a defensiveness and a curiosity, but also a bit...
It was judgmental and nasty. So I was like, so how would you feel if people said that about you when you're wearing a dress? I don't know, I wouldn't like it. So I guess we can't mimic the world that we don't like around us. We can't start spouting hate when he's starting. Do you know what I mean? So if they start talking about misogyny or sexism or consent being bullshit or whatever, we can't then get on a man-hating buzz and start saying, well,
and I really don't want to be the naggy parent when they're going out to drink their little nagging of vodka out of their pocket, make good decisions, make good decisions. I am
so scared. Because I just know Ray is going to be a drinker, and I'm so scared. Obviously, my mum was a drinker. I obviously don't drink anymore. How do we? But we had to hide it all the time from my dad. So how do we then create such an open atmosphere that he can tell me?
Comes back to trust.
Yeah, you have to have an open conversation with them.
You have to trust. Yeah, you have to give them the trust for them to be able to give it back to you.
Yeah, I know.
It has to come full circle. That's what I believe, and I think that's going to be useful if I remember that, and however many years' time I need to remember it in. But I think it's the limitations of trust and the fact that no matter what, he's going to be himself.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Well, I hope so.
So, he's going to, I'm not telling you he's going to make the right decisions, but no matter what he goes through, you'll have to stick by it. You can't ever make him feel bad. You can't ever question. You can't ever judge who he is because you're just as bad as the next person.
Yeah, but that's easier said than done because we don't have teenagers yet. And Katie has two, and 20-something-year-old and a teenager over there. And
do you trust them?
Yes. She has to say that, but we haven't been on that road yet. So I'm really, really scared about the teenage years and about there is a chance Jude could come in and say, oh, I didn't like my girlfriend because she wouldn't put out. And you're going to, are you going to trust them and tell them they're right? That, so there's...
No, I'd never. I would literally say, do you want to sit down and talk about it a little bit? Because I think there's some things that you might... that might be useful to you in moving forward with this.
Yeah. It's a fucking minefield, isn't it?
It's crazy to think
when
about
I think about
that.
Even, I think specifically...
But unconditionally, no. Okay. So, hypothetically, I don't know. In a perfect world, I will always instill in him and let him know that no matter what happens and what decisions he makes in his life, he is always safe under our roof.
Yeah,
always.
I think, exactly. I think he has
heroin, sex addict, porn. Porn. Everyone watches porn. It's fine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but career, all these things that we felt socially pressured into. For example, owning a house before we were 30, having a great job, doing the CAO. Even me and Audrey were talking about it. She was like, "Who gives a fuck if he doesn't want to go to secondary school? There's courses." There's apprenticeships. There's so many people out there.
But I mean, that's exactly
it's high achievement. Or once monetary worries comes, I will never, ever, ever. If I'm worried about money, I will never let him know that.
Well,
it's not fair.
I mean, Lewin's asking to go to Disney World, and we just don't have the money for it. Do you know what I mean? When I think about I think Gen X boom is Gen X millennials. We've all had this crazy upbringing where the consent conversation didn't happen. When I think back to some of my sexual experiences, I'm that certainly was not consensual.
Borderline,
and in some cases not at all consensual. And I can talk about it lightly now, but it was fucking hard at the time. But we got ourselves into fucking crazy situations. And do you remember there'd be guys that would fancy you? And you probably had guys fancying you didn't like it at all.
No, I hated it.
And did you ever have guys kind of coming on to you and you kind of went along with it anyway?
Yeah, I would.
And what would you do? Would you just kiss them back kind of thing?
Kiss them back and just hang out with them and...
TaxAct filing software and live tax experts can help small businesses easily knock out their taxes. Actually, our experts can help you find deductions and credits for any sized business. Itty-bitty businesses, medium-sized, really big, mid-sized, small businesses, companies with 0 employees, and mom-and-pop conglomerates. Yep, our tax experts can help all of them. TaxAct. Let's get them over with.
I don't know, like, it was just like, and then you think about it going, oh, sure, why did I do that? Oh, sure, it's a bit of crack.
And were you in your head at those times knowing you're gay, but you just had to go along with it?
No, I didn't. I don't think it was I had to. I think it was that I was so lost in myself anyway that I just did. So I don't think there was any like pressure. I don't think there was any, because I was just very much kind of like a loner in a lot of ways and kind of making my own bad decisions because it was self-destruction. So I was thriving off that destruction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know, I don't think like, and their drink and intoxication was very heavily involved in those years. So like, maybe there was decisions made that I like lurch about.
Yeah.
Lurching around the place about, but like never like, oh, that was, I really feel like every single thing that happened was consensual on my part.
Definitely not for me and some of my friends, like 100% not. But when I think about... You were talking about, pressure. The pressure. I was definitely pressurised. Club life was a big fucking thing when we were growing up. So club life was like Wes. Did you hear about Wes?
Wesley.
Did you hear about that?
Wesley.
Yeah. And so club life would be like you'd wear the miniest mini skirt, you know, and some of the girls would cut a hole in the middle of their tights so for easy access, you know, this kind of thing. Yeah. Apparently there was more condom wrappers found in club life. Now we never, I never did that or whatever.
Holy shit!
But you'd go. So it would be like. You'd spot a guy, you'd be going the whole night going, okay, that guy. And then, so you probably did, I don't know if you did this or not. So like, this is like, so you'd have to have a friend. You'd have to have three girls in the situation. So you'd have your friend so you could talk to your friend. The other friend would go over to the guy with his mate and say, will you score her? And he'd look at you.
And then they'd have to be two of them so you wouldn't be left alone.
And he might say no. So you could come back and say no and you'd walk off. Or they'd say yes and you'd be like, brilliant. And then you'd go over and you'd just stand beside a pillar and just like, you know, dishwasher machines, like just shifting. They might get a top. And I remember, actually, sorry, this is very funny. My mum, so we started to go into life when we were about 13, and about 6 months later was when Mum died. So Mum actually got about 6 months of that kind of consensual stuff in there, which is quite interesting. She was lying across Danielle's bed and she was talking to the two of us. She was lying up against the wall, kind of, you know. She was like, now girls, would you ever let a man grope you? And we were like, what's groping? And she was like, you know, like put his hand up here. And we were like, oh, top you. She's like, yeah. And we were like, at the time, we were like, no. You know, of course, 6 months later I did. But then she was like, good, because you know if he did, he wouldn't find anything up there. And we were like, what? You're very flat chested. And then she started miming it on the wall and started going, he'd be like this, grope. Nothing to find. And that shamed me out of getting topped for a long time.
So funny.
I went to like the cinema with a guy. I was like double blind date with like one of my friends, and Danielle went on with a really tall guy, and I was we went to the cinema to watch Enemy of the State. Danielle had a really tall guy, I had a really short guy, and we went in, didn't fancy him. Went in, he had his arm around me, and at one point I was like, he's like a fucking koala. He was like this, like latched onto me like a little kind of, and the
cradling him like a child.
Yeah,
get up on my lap.
And then so we did the whole kissing thing, and then we'd stop and watch the thing, and then we'd kiss, and then he just had his hand like on my completely overly padded bra. There was nothing there to feel, and he was just kind of groping away for the whole. And then we just walked. We just like came out of the cinema and off we went.
Never seen him again.
I can't remember his name or anything like that. It's very, very funny.
It's so strange, isn't it? Because
Bizarre.
like there's like, how do you do the curiosity safely? Like how does that ever happen? Like,
well, I think they verbalise a lot more now. Can I do this? Can I touch you?
Can I? Consent is sexy.
Yeah. Like we also had there was the Leisureplex another time. I'm just telling loads of stories because they're hilarious. The Leisureplex, myself and Danielle and my two friends went up to the Leisureplex one night. We were 16. So a bit loser, 15 maybe. A bit loosely old. And we were like, oh, we do wanted to make some friends. And
play bowling and get the shift.
Kind of. So we were like, and we'd no money. So we were like, to hang around, you know.
Yeah.
So we spotted a group of guys and one of them was kind of good looking. So I said, okay, I've got an idea, right? Like, Emer, you go up to that guy there and ask him to like kiss me. Get off with me, I think they called it. Ask him to give me the shift, and he'll say no, but then we can just start talking to them and hang around with them and make some guy friends. Because we wanted to hang around with people. That's
maybe
all
get a few smokes or a drink or something.
But I didn't smoke. But but this is like earlier days. So I must have been about 15. So we were like just hang around with people. So then she went up to them and we were just standing there. She came back and she was all red. And she was like, And I was like, what? She's like, he said yes. I was like, fuck, wrong. I was like, what's so on? I used to in like a kind of a bright light situation. So me and him just went around the corner to the payphones and just
everyone
kissed.
just watching.
And there was like a family nearby having like their burgers and chips, and I was just like, this is so awkward. So we kissed, and then Kathy had to head off. Another guy got kissed.
God,
it was
how
just
strange.
So bizarre. So bizarre.
Right, like back to the topic of raising men. How do you raise a man to do that kindly? But like, if she's asking you, do you ask her? If you see someone like, what do you do? You can't. You don't prep. Don't you ever prep these situations?
It's way more Americanized now, though. I think they do dating and they do kissing now. I'd like. Well,
the 3 steps or whatever.
I'd love to know
bases.
Yeah, bases. Yeah, like
I'd love to talk to a Gen Z
or like a 14-year-old, like an alpha. Do you know?
They're alpha now. Yeah,
to see
I forgot.
Do they still do the will you shift my mate thing? Like, I'd love to know that.
Yeah. Oh my God. Wow.
Because Lewin has a crush
podcast guest.
on a girl. Yeah.
How do you get off with a man?
Oh my God.
In your day.
Oh my God. I remember thinking
educate the oldies.
Educate the oldies.
Like, could be an episode.
But when did that start? Like the 90s, I think. The like, will you shift me, mate? Because I think it's
always courting. Like,
but that would be a dance.
Fucking thing.
But then it was like just going up and wearing the face off each other.
You have to dance to Irish traditional music.
In club life, they had the couches. Now I'd say they were pretty unpleasant to touch.
Do you remember when the smoking ban came in? The smell of every pub and nightclub that you walked into.
My God, and sticky floor.
How do you clean vomit off a carpet?
There was the couches in club life.
Sharks
there was
didn't
people
exist
would go
back
up.
then.
What?
Shark.
What's a shark?
It's like a fancy Hoover for
the ninja shark.
Yeah, we have one.
Okay, so
it's a carpet cleaner.
So back to the topic of raising men.
Yes,
Trump has a mother. Do you
he
know,
does, yeah.
Like all these horrible people. Do you think their mothers are standing back applauding them, or do you think they're kind of like disowning them? Or
I think.
I mean, I don't know if Trump's mum's alive, but
I think that it comes down to how the person raising the person was raised. I think it's
do you think that though? I mean, I think people can just absolutely go rogue as well.
Yeah, I really do. But maybe it's an eye-opener to millennials, because millennials have a lot on their plate in terms of
changing the status quo.
And there's been so much pressure to not go down the same route. Mm-hmm. There are resources available. The language is there. The words are there. There is so much modern, accessible chat, conversation to tap into.
Yeah, the consent conversation was just a huge campaign, out-of-home campaign recently. I mean, I don't think I knew the word consent there recently. Like, up until up until 5 years ago.
Yeah,
I mean, I knew the word consent, but it wasn't used in kind of a generic.
I'm saying it like it's weird, but nobody's to blame. But I think there is a very, very, very obvious breaking of the mould with our generation, because so much has happened. Yeah. So we're overly cautious, but we're still traumatised. You know what I mean? So that might come to our detriment.
Any of it, and as I said, there's been very non-consensual stuff that's happened. Okay, I'm traumatised by some of it, but like a lot of the stuff, a lot of the stuff that was like really not on that happened. Yeah. Like, it was just sort of, you just sort of laughed it off. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but then does it approach you later in life as a trauma, or should be a trauma? And maybe,
yeah, maybe, or am I part of the problem by being like, sure, do you know, like, it's.
But you are, and then you're like, oh shit, I just enabled it, like, because I didn't know any better, and it was what everyone else is doing. That's
like,
that's the previous generation's excuse, though.
Yeah, I know.
Racism, previous generation's excuse. Homophobia, previous generation's. The education isn't there. It all comes down to education.
Yeah.
It all comes down to knowing more than you already knew about a certain situation.
I'll bring you back, though, to Club Life just to give you a good story, because something came into my head there, which has nothing to do with what we just spoke about. My mate, really want to name her, but you'd be annoyed if I name her, Natalie, went off.
Did you hear that?
Went off. It was really kiss my mates kind of thing, and she went off to kiss him, and they were just stood there for 45 minutes. 45 minutes, because usually you'd be like, how long? There was a kind of a thing back then.
My tongue's spasming, help.
It would be spasming, and you'd be like, and imagine the amount of saliva you passed there, but you'd be looking at your watch going, okay, so I actually scored him for 10 minutes.
Or just like opening your eyes mid and like looking over at your friends.
And they'd be their eye would flicker open, and you'd be like, oh shit, close again. But she was over there for 45 minutes kissing, nothing else, just standing kissing. Oh, do you remember the big tongue kissing that they did? And the one huge dribble of spit just came down between the two of them and just like onto her boobs. disgusting.
So awful.
Really
Did we even
disgusting.
thought that was like intriguing by any means?
I'm sure the lads.
Is there
had some sort of
do Gen
sexual-
Z or Gen Alpha have like kissing lessons?
Yeah, I
Is that
don't
a
know.
thing?
Like, how
is
did
there
we-
curriculum for that now?
When did we merge from doing the dishwasher kissing into just normal kissing? Because when
When
I
you
was
had
younger,
enough
you
shit
went
ones
straight
to
in
know.
with, like,
You had enough shit ones to know. When was your first good kiss? What age were you?
I'd
40.
I'd say it's about 17 or 18. I think most of my kissing up until then was like the kind of weird washing machine kissing. It wasn't until I actually think I started to actually get any kind of gratification out of the
maybe
kissing.
16 or 17.
Because like before then,
That's a lot of years of shit kissing,
I
to be
never
fair.
enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it. There was no sexual gratification for me at all as like from 14 to 17 of like there was no arousal. Do you know what I mean? In kissing. It was just this is the thing I do with my mouth. Oh, his hand is up my top. I was embarrassed about
It's
mainly
a pastime.
embarrassed. It was
a pastime
like
that I do
cutting
with
the
my
grass,
friends.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm sure the lads were getting loads out of it. I got nothing out of it at all until I was about 17 or 18. And then that's probably when the kissing started to hone itself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But did you ever have a moment with a guy where you were taking the lead and telling him how to do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, cop on.
Yeah, definitely.
Jerry.
I'm sure I was a fucking asshole to loads of guys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I think there was definitely times where, oh God, I just remembered a really embarrassing time in club life that a guy. It was before I'd let anyone top me, and the girls saw this happening. So his hand started to go up my top.
They were
No, they wouldn't have cared because I was all like, he just chopped me, blah, blah, blah. But his hand started to go up my top and I pulled his hand away and broke the kiss and looked him in the eyes and went, no, and shook my head and then hugged him. So embarrassing. No, pet.
So condescending.
No, it's really American. Like.
Also, like with the topping and like the bases, was it a flex like on a night out in club life that you've talked about 17 times in this fucking podcast?
You're just jealous. You're so jealous.
I wish I was there.
Waterford.
Watching from around the corner with spit just dribbling out of my mouth.
Lurking behind the...
Yeah, was it like brownie points? Like, was it like...
I think between some of them it was. Between us...
With your
group of friends, no, we would have all been kind of scared of the higher bases and we would have been like, oh no. Like, but also, actually, good one on Raising Men is my older brother. He's 9 years older than me, Andy. He's been a really amazing kind of father figure in my life for a lot of my life. I mean, for example, when he was carrying us down the stairs when we were babies and he tripped. He was about 10 and he tripped and fell, but he turned himself mid-air so he would land on his back and we wouldn't get crushed. So he's always looked after us.
Oh my God, there's a white thing on your black top. It's really annoying me.
No, it's a hole in my cardigan. And we were in Italy with my dad when we were 16 and we'd gone skiing and myself and Andy and my other brother Shane and my sister went down to the nightclub and we were having a few drinks because it was legal there to drink, so it was great crack. So we were having a few drinks and then there was Italian guys invariably kind of following myself and Danielle around and we'd be dancing on the dance floor and the guys would kind of start making their way over and then I'd look over behind a pillar and just half of Andy's head, big baldy head in them, looking behind the pillar like
just making sure they weren't coming close.
And then once they came close he'd come over and do his really bad Gen X dancing at them and all dancing, getting in the way. And we were like, oh wait. And there was one guy that I was kind of getting on with and I really wanted to kiss him and I was like, oh, and he started to act really frightened and he's like, no, I can't. And I tried to kiss him and he was like, no, I can't.
You gave it to
Ran
Andy?
off. And I said, Andy, what the fuck did you say to your man? He said, do you understand morte? That'll be you. You will die. Mortal. It's like he basically went up and put his fist in his face and threatened them. So like, I mean, I actually think brothers get it.
That's
brothers
amazing.
get the whole protective thing. Do you know what I mean? I've had 3 older brothers who can be very protective over me and really get how to protect women.
And none of them have joined the Manosphere.
None of them have joined the Manosphere, thank God. Yeah, and like they kind of get it. And I think myself and Danielle would be kind of strong women, you know, we're feminists and we kind of...
Yeah, but you were protected and you were trusted.
That's what I mean.
And you had
and
people watching your back.
But what's great is that they see that in us and so that they kind of respect that in other women as well. So,
so there has to be that there when you're raising men.
So we need to get sisters for them. That's the answer to it.
Yeah, I wonder like these Manosphere people that are so...
Do they have sisters?
Do they have sisters and have they ever experienced that? Or how would they feel if their sister was a victim?
Yeah, I know.
And so blatantly misogynistically talking about like being like these throwaway comments about really, really serious traumatizing topics.
I know, I wonder.
Like, but like, I don't know. I think all we can do is our best and also try, like, I don't ever want to be seen as this like controlling that.
No.
I want him to be free in that.
I think we need to stay curious. We need to stay curious and empathetic. And
but there's no hard set lesson either. This is the thing. That's why you can't teach sex ed.
That's the whole
really?
point. Yeah. I think
we all have different brains.
Keep an open mind with them. Stay tolerant and patient, and stay curious. Keep asking them questions, and try not to be rigid like the world out there is. I think that's kind of our only.
Yeah, but like living it was kind of rigid because you got the bases, you got the
But I want to be open.
There was a structured way things happened.
I know, but I want to be open.
For me growing up,
I know, but I want to be open enough so that I'll finish on this. My mum came down. She was sick. She had been diagnosed leukemia, and it was the last disco I went to before she died. And I came home, and I'd gotten off with 3 guys, and I thought I was great, and I thought that was fine. And my mum came down the stairs. I remember her asking me in the morning, "How did you get on at the disco?" And I said, "Yeah, great." She said, "Did you kiss anyone?" I said, "Yeah, there was one guy and there was another guy." She said, "How many guys did you kiss?" I said, 3. She said, "Right, yeah, I think that's probably..." Now, in her head, she was probably like, "What the fuck is my 13-year-old doing going around locking tonsils?" But, but she was like, "Yeah, that's probably a bit too much to work." Because, I mean, you don't really, you want to focus on one guy, don't you? You don't want to get, loads of different guys. And she handled it so well and so openly. And I took that with me, and the groping thing. It's okay to talk about this. Let's talk, let's openly talk about this. And she approached it in such a nonchalant way. And the whole, everything about sex was
so you had a very conversational, relaxed conversational piece about everything about it.
Yeah. So for example, if Lewin was to come home and say, I scored a girl this morning and he's 11, it won't be. And
what was she like?
What's her name? Won't be, what the fuck?
What does her dad do?
You're too young for that. It'll be, okay, how does that make you feel? Do you know what I mean? Because actually the first time I kissed a guy I was 10, I felt way too young, and I went home, cried to mum, and mum was like, "Well, maybe you're just not ready yet, love." And I wasn't, and that was so rather than, "Oh God, don't tell me," I think we just need to be open. We need to be...
Yeah, there was nothing catastrophised about it.
Exactly, there was nothing scary.
Yeah,
and
that's amazing.
When I was growing up as a Christian, no sex outside marriage, we need to not, put these guardrails around anything so that we can kind of guide them in that respect.
Yeah, and do you remember the class that you had? Was it very taboo? It's a bad thing, or was it the sex ed class? Because I don't remember mine. Was it was just really biological.
It was,
or was it
it was quite biological. But
was it biased in any way?
No, because multi-denominational, and actually it was a great school for that because in 6th class then we had our teachers. Everybody could write down a question. And you wrote it down twice, and you ripped the paper in 2, and you folded it up and put it in a bowl. And all the girls went into one classroom, and all the boys went into another classroom.
Oh, that's cool.
And the teacher answered all the questions. And I remember one question came up was what's a tampon, or these kind of things. But one question came up was, what's a blowjob? And the teacher was like, okay, yeah, I think that's probably one for your parents to answer, because she was just shit, she didn't want to go into that kind of thing. Good. But there was mainly does blood come out the pee hole? What's a period? Things. And so the girls and boys were answering.
Basically, clearly anatomical inquisition to the whole
there
was
questions around. Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, I think there was what's an orgasm, or does an orgasm feel good, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there was
lots
of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, ooh, yeah.
What noise do you make?
Yeah. So I think keeping an open mind, allowing our children to be curious, and not freaking out when they say fucking weird shit, because we're in for the weird shit, because social media is only getting started.
Totally. Yeah. And maybe not allowing him to have social media until he's 18.
Oh God, the whole porn stuff. But look, we'll get into that in another episode.
Okay. See you later.
Oh, bye bye. Bye bye.
Stay cool.
Stay cool.
Okay, stay classy, San Diego.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.